Hello, my name is Arthur. In the last videos, we've made this window, populated it with a menu and a toolbar, and got things running. Now, I'm noticing looking at things that something is wrong. First off, my tooltip has a typo, and I'm missing a button. I can cut things, I can paste things, but apparently I forgot a copy button. So that's a little oversight. And moving forward in this video, we're going to put in the notebook and an add tab function so that we can add a tab to the notebook. So that'll be a little bit. So let's close this up. We'll just close that up too. We won't need it for a little while. So looking in my folder, I have a copy icon. So something went on there. And I can guess that. There we go. I can guess that I just forgot to put the button in there. So because we used the calculation to calculate the size of this, we won't need to change any numbers. It will just calculate a different size now. So I believe that, well, this one has cut first. I'm going to put copy first. Well, maybe I'll do it in the same order. Let's do it in the same order as the software. So we can just add that line in. Whoops. That's entirely wrong. And the tooltip, copy. Copy the selection. And while we're here, let's turn on auto check spelling. Now, because I'm in C, I'm pretty sure the only thing that it will actually check is things that are in quotation marks. So it's not going to underline everything on the screen. But if I had my spell check on, then I would not be making spelling mistakes inside of a place like a tooltip. That's not really going to inspire much confidence in the software to have that kind of mistake. So I guess we were going to need that. Let's just ensure that what we did is going to work. So now we have cut, copy, and the rest doesn't fit because our default size is too small. So remember that I'm recording on a quarter resolution, so my resolution is odd, and everything that's going to come across in the video is going to look twice as big because it's being scaled 2 times in post the video. So this is half as big as it looks on a full screen video. So that's one thing to keep in mind with this. So if you like, oh, I couldn't even figure out the scale math on a YouTube video. But at full screen, this would be 2 times larger than it actually is. So things might look enormous, but that's because of the way that I'm recording this set of videos. So yeah, that would be in the default size, which we could increase that. But that's not all that important right now. We're just going to okay. I didn't open up several copies of that. So yeah, if we were gonna change that, maybe something like 600 by 600 to start. Really, in the end, this probably should end up as a variable that can get stored in a place like a configuration file. Because every time I open this software, it remembers this size. So I've actually left this text editor this exact size because that way I don't have to figure out the size for each time I do a video. So that would be how that works, is to have this variable as a variable that can be brought out of something like a configuration file to go, oh, the last time the window was at this size, so it would open at that size again. So something along those lines. So we can just save that, and we might as well have a look at how it looks. So now that's gonna be a little bit bigger than my video window, because my video window is 540 tall. So yeah, that looks okay. That's an okay size, I guess. So the next thing we need to do is the notebook. Yeah, on the notebook, I'm not really certain on one thing. It's what to do with the scope of the notebook. Now, when I think about it, the most functional thing that I can come up with the notebook is to make it actually the thing that's global in scope. Because some things, according to what I read, we want to avoid making things global, but some things I don't really see how they can work any other way than to be that way. So our notebook widget, I'm going to make global because I think that it's the thing to be global. In order to get at the text field that's inside of a tab, we would do that through the notebook by going, oh, what's the current page? And then once we have the current page, I believe we should have access to the text field that's inside of the page. So by having the notebook global, it seems as though that would be more doable. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to declare notebook as a global thing and then proceed from there. So let's just change our tabs first, and we're going to change view. We're going to get toolbar and status bar. Now I'm still looking into this. Yeah, this is a type of menu item that doesn't look that hard to make, and I'm still looking at how to get that to work in this routine for making a menu. Yeah, maybe it would involve something like a new member in the data structure to indicate what type of a button it is, and to check for that type of a button. So how that would work would be similar to how it works in the make toolbar function, where we're checking for the word separator and then passing a separator or a button to be inserted into the toolbar, depending on the data that's held within the tool button struct. So something along those lines would work. And then when it comes to the signal, probably with different kinds of buttons, I think that we could use a char variable. So the signal for a button is clicked, but the signal for a menu item is activate, and then the signal on a toggle button is toggle. So we could probably change that in along the same lines as this. So this would be bracketed. This would be turned into something variable that we could change in accordance with what kind of button is being put into the menu. So if we're putting this kind of button in, we could give it the appropriate message for the signal as well. So something along those lines, and I haven't went through it and worked it out yet, but I'm pretty sure that would work. So down in make window, we called make menu, passing the VBox, make toolbar, passing the VBox. So the next thing to make is the notebook. And we're going to again pass the VBox. So we just keep going up and up. It'll probably have a little bit of space here on the button type of things because that makes them stand out a little bit. Easier to see. So making notebook, that would be a void return value. Now there's not much to this function. This is just going to be a few lines really. There's much more to making the actual pages or the tabs to go into the notebook. But the notebook itself, we're really just declaring it and creating a new notebook. It's really not very much to this one. Oh, I'll put 2 lines there. So yeah, that would be so that's it. Then we pack it into the VBox. And that would be the notebook, comma, true, comma, true, and I think this makes it expand. And then we can call the function to add a tab, which we still have to write. Now, for now, what I've come up with is to, when I add a tab, I'm just sending a string as a name because I haven't worked exactly how the names will work and stuff out yet. Because a part of that is the idea of opening a file into the text view buffer, but I haven't gotten that far yet. That's why the video title is more about a GUI than actually making a text application, because I'm not at the point where I can make a text application fully. Like I mentioned jokingly, with the idea of a search or a spell check. I actually know how to do a search, but the spell checking, um, the idea that I have that figured out yet after only a month in C and GTK is kind of laughable. I'm pretty quick with computer stuff, but not that quick. So the add tab function, that will also be a void return value. It will receive the char, which we'll just call name, as in the file name. Now this function's a little bit busier, so what we want to accomplish is we want to make the entire page. So the entire page has the scroll window, the text view, a label, a button, and yeah, one day I'm going to figure out how to make this button like this, because my button comes across pretty big and I haven't figured out the small button yet like that. But we'll get there slowly but surely. So yeah, we make an H box to hold the label and the button to pawn off on the page as its label. So the page expects you to give it a label for the top of the tab, but instead of passing it a label, what we're going to pass it is a H box that has a label and a button inside of it, and that'll work just fine. So let's see, we have GTK widget. Let's keep our spelling in line here. GTK widget text view. Equals is that one has an underscore in it? Text view new. GTK. Oh, this is like that. So maybe if we do this, we're going to call the label text. Maybe that will make things read sort of less confusing. I don't know. Just an idea that occurred to me. So inside of that, we'll put the variable name that we passed into the function. So yeah, I'm going to, I don't know what to do with the spacing here. I think it reads better double spaced, but maybe we'll declare the widgets at single space. It's going to run into a place where it doesn't fit on the screen if I double space it. So we'll call the label text, and then we'll call the box label, because that might sort of communicate better what's going on with the actual page. So we'll call this label. And I have seen questions when I was looking for how to actually get a button onto the tab. I've seen people asking questions how to do this and some pretty complicated answers. Let's see, what are we doing here? We're doing a box, so the box needs an orientation. GTK orientation. And this is an H box. And because size is an issue with the tabs, we don't want to put any padding around it. Then we need an icon. And, oh, we're missing an equal sign here. The icon will equal GTK image new from file. New from file, and that file is called close. Whoops. Close.png. So that's the X that was in with my icon images in the folder. And then we need a button. The button is a widget. I was curious if this was actually made as like a menu item or something, but I don't see how that would work. That one's kind of stuck on me, figuring out how to get that tab a little bit smaller, which is something that's been a little elusive. So we just declare a new button. Now we want to set that image into the button, so GTK button set image. GTK button, which is called button, and icon. I'm forgetting where I'm at. Probably didn't have enough coffee this morning. Okay, so that's the image into the button. This button should have a tooltip, so GTK widget set tooltip text button comma close tab. So that'll give us a tooltip. Now we need to pack those into the box. So GTK box pack start. And let's see. I think we would want to start with the label. So GTK box. Which is called label. This part's a little confusing. So we call the box label. And then the text is the first thing we want into the box. We want the text to expand. I'm pretty sure that's what the true is here. It tells it whether it should fill the area available to it. But I'm not 100% on that. Sometimes it's good to refer to the documentation to be certain exactly what a thing does. So the next one, here, let's speed ourselves up slightly here with a little copy and pasting. So this time into the label, we're putting the button. We do not want the button to expand or get any bigger. And yeah, I've never experimented, but I don't really, well, yeah, it would make a difference because buttons get big if you don't stop them from getting big. Then we need to connect a signal to the button. So I figure that closing the tab event is going to be significant enough to warrant its own function. So here we will go void close tab. And I don't think it will need to be sent any data. So for now, we're just going to leave that empty. And we'll get back to closing tabs when we make our button do something. So maybe just as the confirmation that it's doing something, that it's getting there, we'll gprint close tab. So the signal, G signal, connect GTK widget button. This kind of button gets the signal. Forget our comma. Clicked. The callback. G callback. Close tab. And we won't send anything back, so we can just put that here. Now we need a scroll window. Oh, this is... Let's get our spelling right. try to slim down on all that debugging. So scroll, window, equals GTK, scrolled, window, new. This one needs some values, which we'll put null, comma, null, into. Want to put the text view into the scroll window. So the scroll window is a container. GTK container. Scroll window. Comma. Text view. Just like that. Then GTK notebook. Now we add the page to the notebook. So the page is the scroll window. So let's see, that's append page. GTK notebook. Which is called notebook. So on this, the two values we pass are the scroll window and the box that we called label after filling it with the label and the button. So this is actually the box, but we called it label. Up here, because that's what we're treating the box as, is we're treating it as the label. Yeah, hopefully that works out. So we have that. Now we need to show things. Let's see, GTK widget, show all in the box that's called label, and GTK widget show all in the scroll window container. And that should get us there. So let's just scan, call back. Things look correct. I guess ultimately we're going to find out. So that's our add tab function, and our close tab function doesn't really do anything because none of our buttons really do anything. Yep. So let's just save that in the menu like that. and we'll get to where we can find out how much typos I made in this one. Let's see. I'm going to expand this so I'm not moving it around. I watched my previous videos and I noticed one time I'm debugging, but I have the window right off of the video. So that's not very helpful. Okay, in line 6, we have, let's just get that out of the way. Line 6, we have a problem, which is a typo. And that one would cause a fair amount of havoc. Let's see, line 76, missing a comma. Right here. Yeah. Something is typed there wrong. Yeah, we have a bracket where a label, where a comma belongs. So we'll save that. Those all relate to the same thing. Too few arguments. Notebook doesn't actually exist to be an argument, so that's probably related to one of the other issues. What was that? Oh, okay, let's get that up. Undeclared. There's a typo there. So in make notebook we had a typo. I'll just save. Okay, at 94, this is done wrong. GTK box. And then this should have the brackets around it. No, this, oh, I see what I've done. This should be VBox. And then it would be notebook. I think I'm back to that should have had another coffee this morning thing. That was a little slow. Okay. Too few arguments. That's all in the same thing. So now I think we're there. A little bit grueling. So now we have a tab. Inside of the tab we can type text and we can press the button and it says close the tab, but it doesn't close the tab. So yeah, the enormity of this button, it's making me wonder what I can get away with putting inside of this tab, because now that I know I can put a box named label as the label, maybe the right thing is something like, maybe there's a way to do a label with a menu button. And I keep looking at this one and wondering how that was accomplished. So I'm not really sure on that one though. We can see what I mean. It's pretty chunky in comparison. So if we compare this to this, and let's put our toolbar back onto this one just to get an idea for the real estate difference. So yeah, this one has quite a bit of real estate difference. This comes across as a little bit space wasty. So we can't really do very much here. Like, there's nothing that's functioning other than we can make it print close tab. Other than that, we don't really have any function other than the ability to close things. But that's got us to a point where we're pretty much able to start looking at what can be done with something like that. So in the next video we'll come back with some button click kind of sorting idea. So I'll get that figured out and then we'll do a video on that. And until then, I guess that's it. Well, actually, on the close tab function, the reason why I separated it is because I figured that when we close a window and there's a bunch of tabs open, that closing a tab would become significant enough where it would be checking if each individual tab is saved. So close window would be going to here, and we would be looking at notebook get pages so that we could iterate through the pages to ensure that they're saved or stuff like that. So yeah, that would be the reason why I made that button have its own special function. Yeah, in the next video we'll come back and we'll be looking at how to sort all of these different button names inside of the button event function that we've created and sent all of the buttons to. So we'll figure out how to sort that out next, and until then, I hope this was helpful. Take care.